Avan. So, first, good morning. I think the last, 10 days have been breathtaking for the markets because almost 1150, 1200 point rally in the last 10, 12 days. I think it's just been, completely, strong. And this has come out on the back of this very strong resurgence of Bank Nifty. So, in every phase of the market trend and the market rally we've seen the last 6 months, there has been different textures to this market rally. Earlier, it was Reliance Industries, which was one of the strongest stocks. Now we're not even discussing what's happened to Reliance Industries because the stock has remained absolutely sideways. And you have clear new leaders which is emerging. Banking stocks have made a very strong comeback. Bank Nifty now above the 200 moving averages. I think that's a very important I would say indicator. Private sector banks, PSU banks also making a strong comeback. Cement stocks. So many of the sectors and many of the stocks have made a very strong comeback. And in the last 10 days as well, I think the markets have got back into a different texture. Now, when you generally see typically see such a kind of a ferocious rally, so almost like a 100-point rally, every day, on the Nifty. And when you generally see typically these kind of rallies, the market either goes through a time-wise correction where it tries to consolidate, remains in a very small narrow band of 200 to 50 points, and then consolidates over there. Or either you will see a you probably see a major price correction, maybe a 50% correction or a 30% correction from the recent swing high. So I think whichever way we expect the markets to pan out, I believe that the buyers could now shift back towards the mid cap names. I think that's going to be the large theme for the next at least a week, and I believe in that regards, the traders should position themselves accordingly into select few mid cap names or else in names which are slightly defensive. So with that theme, I would suggest to buy calls Avan. And the first one is upon ITC. Now, after quite some time, we are discussing this stock on the buy side because yesterday the stock managed to show some very good volume patterns as well. There was a good candlestick pattern on the daily charts. We saw the stock closing back about the swing highs of 170, 171 on ITC. And I think in those regards, there could be an expectation that this volume trend continues. Then I believe even the prices would move up higher for the stock. So buy on ITC with a target of 178 and stop loss could be get prepped 168. The second is about Dalmia Bharat. Now, that's what I was focusing on, that trying to select few mid-cap names if the index goes into a bit of a consolidation as well. Dalmia Bharat is the other stock which I believe is heading towards yet another swing breakout on the daily charts. It's formed a classic bullish flag pattern on the daily charts, as well as there's been a support at the 50-day moving average. And every time the stock generally has a tendency to try and come back to a 50-day moving average and then bounce from there on to continue its trend. So I would expect a similar trend to continue for Dalmia Bharat this time around as well. Buy with a immediate target of 820 and stop us at 770.
Okay, ITC and Dalmia Bharat both getting a thumbs up from Kunal. Meantime, Dr. Narayan, hi there, good morning. So things are looking quite robust in terms of the trade setup for our market. So what exactly is it that you're working with by way of levels? Are we going to see 12,000 sustain on the screen? And share with us some of your recommendations. Kunal had a mix of large as well as mid caps. What about you?
Good morning, Avan. Good morning, everybody. We did touch 12,000 yesterday briefly, but market peeled off from that. Today, the SGX is hinting at slightly lower start. So the work towards 12,000 is a little bit cut out for the bulls, and they need to exert a little more upside pressure than they would have otherwise done earlier. I mean, had the market closed well yesterday, then it would have been a breeze to take it towards the all-time high, which is what is the expectation of most people. But yesterday's lows around 11,865 should be now kept as a kind of a stop loss if you are trading long in the Nifty or have large number of long positions in the market. So this would be a immediate short-term stop for aggressive traders. On the Bank Nifty, it's been doing a little better, but the thing was, I think, owing to the lower volume yesterday, the changes to the OI in both indices were quite limited, just about 1% for both. So that does not, really encourage any fresh views to be taken. So we'll have to wait for fresh order flows and fresh price action today and fresh changes in OI to hint us about what the future direction is. That said, the trend remains up, and therefore we should not be betting against it, and we should be betting with it. So intra-day dips and intra-week dips continue to remain buys. Like I said, 11,865 is the nearest tipping point, that too for aggressive traders. With that background in mind and looking at the SGX softness, I have two stocks which are one by one short, a little bit mixed in my approach. For the buy side, playing it safe and sticking with the IT pack, which has been going great guns. Mindtree is just blazing away, and at the current levels is packing a lot of new momentum, which should see the stock continue higher, perhaps to something like 1590, 1600 levels. So Mindtree is a buy with a stop at about 1550 or thereabouts. The stock which is weak and which I want to recommend for a sell even at the currently depleted levels, comparatively of course, is Bharti Airtel. I think too many of us have been chasing down reasons for why Bharti is declining, but then the market seems to be content to push the stock even lower. That can only happen if sellers are still dominant or buyers have withdrawn from the field, or both of them have happened together. Be that as it may, I think the stock prices are clearly indicating that Bharti ought to seek lower levels. I think a price target which should be around 400, 405 seems to be looming on the chart, so can short Bharti, stop loss 422.